Welcome, everyone.
Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. I'll say good
Yes,
afternoon to my peeps on the East Coast and good morning to those on the West Coast.
yes,
So thank you
yeah,
for joining us. We'll have people popping in, I'm sure, as we go. We always open the room actually, we're right on time. It's right at the top of the hour. So we'll go ahead and just get started then.
yeah, fantastic. Well, welcome. Good to see you, Monet, as always. Daryl, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And as we always do, welcome to those of you who aren't able to join us live today, but hey, Leslie, that may be joining us at a future date. And watching this as a replay in the group or somewhere else, and know that we're always monitoring the comment section of these videos. So please participate in the discussion as though this is live, because obviously it is live right now, but those of you who are watching the recording know that we'll be responding to you just like it is live. So we're trying to one of the things I often talk about is with the advent of the internet and business on the internet and life on the internet, we've collapsed a couple things. One is we've collapsed time. There's no such thing as time anymore, because you can watch and participate 24/7. And the other thing we've collapsed is distance, geography. So now we can be in different parts of the world. In fact, brief little introduction too. Jamie and I have never physically met, although we've been in business for years, and we're literally on, opposite, kitty corner ends of the continent, and yet we've never met in person. Yet we consider each other, I would say, best friends. Well, Jamie often calls me her business husband or something.
A
Yeah,
work spouse. Yeah.
work spouse. There you go.
Yep.
So anyhow, it's a pleasure always to be here with you every week. And by way of introduction, just a little preface to where we go from here. The beginning part of our conversation here is really around a learning concept, something hopefully new to you, or maybe it's repetition for you. It's all good, but that we get those neurons firing, and that we learn something new, and we have some good discussion and participation. So we want to encourage you to come and play with us, be a participant, not a spectator. And then a little later on, depending on how long this session goes and our Q&A, then we'll transition into our client-only call, which we call our implementation call. So that's where we dive in directly. Those of you who are clients know how this works with specific questions, and we're gonna dive right in and do whatever it takes to help you move to the next step and keep your momentum going. So Jamie, anything else to add, or without further ado?
Yeah, just real quick that we have everybody muted, but we please play with us in the chat. We always like to say play in the sandbox with us and respond in the chat, post any questions or comments. At the end, we will invite you to open your mic to ask any questions that you want live or make comments. So just mentioning that. And we'll ask
Yes,
feedback at the end of this, by the way. So stay
for
tuned for
sure.
that as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Jamie. So let me just briefly introduce today's topic. Today, we're going to talk about a signature solution and how important it is in your business. Now, it can literally transform a coaching business. It can be a real game changer, and we've seen this happen over and over again. Jamie and I have been around the block a long time. We've been a couple decades actually coming up for me, and close to that for Jamie. And we didn't have a signature solution for a long time. And it really was a game changer for us when the light bulbs went off. And one of our mentors and teachers, one of the people that we paid to coach us, introduced us to this concept and taught us how to do it. It was really, really powerful. So we want to share that with you, this concept with you today. So transforming your business with a signature solution. And by way also of context for this, we want to let you know that this is part of phase one in our 3-phase 9-step upscale method. So this is just one part of that. And as always, we want you to put this in context. We want you to know that one magic bullet isn't going to solve all of your problems or help you achieve all of your goals, that it's a continuous process of building out a proper coaching business. So today we are going to cover the difference between a custom solution and a signature solution, why having a signature solution is critical for getting paid what you're truly worth, and understanding how to price your signature solution, how to implement that in your business. How come this is important? What's this all about? Well, we believe, and we've seen this over and over again, that without a signature solution, you will stay stuck in the mode of trading time for dollars. The proverbial charging by the hour is literally trading time for dollars. It's creating a job for yourself, in fact. A signature solution is the only way to achieve scale. It's the only way to really build a business. And it makes it easy to establish pricing for your services when you do establish a really good signature solution. And we'll get into the details of this in a minute. As always, we have a little gift for you. Please stick around till the end. This is our little bribe to hopefully have you participate and stick around. We always have a handout, something for you to take away with you. And we'll tell you how to get that when we get to the end of the presentation. So please hang in there with us for the secret code word. So let me ask you a question. So this is this time where we ask you to play in the sandbox with us, to take off your spectator's hat and become a participant, and do that by jumping into the chat and answering this question for me. Do you find yourself believing, and you might want to think about this for a minute or pause and think about this, that this word custom, this idea of custom or customization, actually has greater value than something that's packaged or prepackaged? Type yes in the chat if that's something that is a belief for you.
We've got yes coming in.
Yes coming in. I know, and full self-disclosure here, even for me, working on these concepts and knowing differently, I still have that come up for me. The word custom tends to have this immediately, a trigger instantly in my brain fires and says, ooh, custom must mean better. Custom must mean more powerful or higher value. So I want you to know that, because I want you to know that you're not alone, and that, we all see this. But what I want to do is hopefully give you some counterintuitive thinking to shed some light on and shift the way you look at this. Because when we look at it this way, it can cause us unnecessary stress. And the reality is, it can make it difficult to excite and enroll and engage clients, which is really what we want to be doing, right? Where we want to be going with this. So this concept of custom, again, I use that word counterintuitive, because if we think about it for a moment, what does that really mean? And let me kind of paint a picture for you. Let me tell this in a story format to see if I can kind of make this make sense for you. Let's say that we're on a journey. My wife and I are going on a big journey, as a matter of fact, in a couple months' time to celebrate my birthday. And let's say that we're all going, or each one of us is going on this journey. Maybe we're going to, I don't know, Yosemite or some amazing place or park that we've never been to before. And there's guides hanging around outside the lodge saying, hey, I can help you out. And one guide is there, and he walk over to kind of listen to his pitch and what he has to say. And he says, listen, I'm an adventurer, so I never take the same path twice. Yeah, occasionally I get lost, but you know what? There's really good patrols around, and they eventually rescue us. It's all cool. So if you want to join me, you can pay me to be your guide, and we'll just head out on an adventure. We'll see what comes up. We'll find our way, and hopefully, we'll be able to stick to the path, and we don't run into any grizzly bears or anything. But, it's going to be an adventure. So come with me. And then there's another guide, and you walk up to her, and she says, hi, how are you today? I've got to tell you, I'm so excited to see you. I've got so many great things to show you. I have guided 1,000 people on this tour before. And I have this wonderful map where we found these amazing gems along the way, and I've marked them off to make sure that you don't miss any of them. And when we get to this point, we're going to go to a really secret little kind of cove, an area that nobody even knows about, where there's a little swimming hole. And if you want, you can go for a swim with me. And then we're going to continue on. And there's this amazing place with a vista that you wouldn't believe. We're going to stop there and we're going to have lunch and have a snack. I've got some snacks and drinks if you didn't bring a lunch with you. And then we're going to carry on. And this afternoon, we're going to come out into an area where it's very safe to look at some bears and to see some wildlife. And then we're going to make our way back. And by about 3:30, 4 o'clock, usually within about a 15-minute time span, we'll be back at the lodge. And we'll kind of finish off by having a cocktail to end our day. That's our tour for today. I'm so excited to have you. Now, when you think about that, who are you going to tend to lean towards if you've never been to this area and it's brand new territory for you before? Go ahead and participate with me in the chat if you like. I know where I'd go, and I know where I'm going. As a matter of fact, my wife and I are already booking a number of tours because we don't want to miss anything. And we want a pro with us. We want somebody that's going to tell us, hey, look at this, look at that. Make sure you look at this particular part of the Sistine Chapel or whatever it happens to be, so that we don't miss anything. So that story hopefully has illustrated to you the idea of custom versus packaged.
Yeah,
and isn't it true that this is what happens when we go through the coaching process? Many people struggle because they say, oh, thanks for calling or getting in touch, or I'm so glad to talk to you. Here's what I do. I'm going to ask you some questions, find out what your problem is, and then we'll figure out a way to solve it. Oh, and by the way, I charge $380 an hour to do that. Oh, no, I have no idea how long it's going to take. Would you like to buy 5 hours of my coaching services? Now, that's the coaching story. Now, another coach comes along and says, hey, I have a unique methodology and a way of helping you get to exactly where you want to be with your particular problem and issue. And let's look at some examples here. So here's an example, and I've deliberately pulled a few examples here that hopefully are different from maybe what you're thinking of, which triggers our brain to give us different perspective. But here's an example of somebody that says, hey, I want to hire a dog trainer. I've got a dog that's wild and crazy, chews my furniture, jumps up on people, occasionally bites people, piddles on the floor, makes a real mess. Help me out. I've got this problem. One trainer comes along and says, hey, hire me. I'll work with you and your dog. And you know what? We'll eventually get there. Here's my fee. I charge $250 an hour, and we'll work with Fido and we'll get those problems solved for you. And then another trainer comes along and says, hey, I actually know exactly where you're at. You're probably frazzled with Fido, and you want to get the act together, and you want to have a happy pet and a great relationship with your dog. In 60 days, I can take you there. And here's the journey we're going to go on together. Oh, and by the way, I've done this dozens of times with dozens of pet owners with 100% success. Who do you want to go with? Who are you going to hire to help you move from being frazzled with Fido to having a happy pet and a focused dog that's going to do exactly what you say when you want to say it, so that you can have a nice family dog? Let's look at another example. Let's say I'm a person who offers landscaping. And we're coming in where I am anyways, we're coming into spring. I guess we are in many parts of the world, except for down under. They're coming into fall, but they need landscapers too to do the cleanup and get ready for winter. But again, a landscaper comes along and says, hey, hire me. I'm $150 an hour, and I'll tidy things up and make sure, your yard looks great. I have no idea how long it's going to take, but I'll show up every week and we'll plug away at it. And we'll sample some different things and bring in some different plants and such. Or you could have the landscaper that says, hey, I want to work with you and show you a beautiful, successful garden that's going to look awesome through all seasons of the year. We're going to map this out. We're going to plan this out. It's going to take us about 60 days to get all the plantings in place. And it's probably going to take, to be honest, 3 to 6 months before everything kind of comes to bloom and starts to really look great. And here's the way we're going to do it. We're going to take you through these different phases and these different steps, because I have a signature solution to that mess of a problem you call a backyard. I'll give you one more example. Vibrant health and optimal aging life plan. Again, somebody's struggling. They're going, you know what? They're like me. I'm middle age. I'm concerned about my health. I want to be active. I want to be a participant, and I want to really max out life. I want quality as opposed to just quantity, because I see a lot of people struggling. I see a lot of people with quantity. They're living forever, but they're stuck in hospital beds, or they're wandering around with an oxygen tank and something up their nose. I don't want that. Help me with my problem, because I really want to get the most out of life right till the very end. Great. Let me take you through my plan for vibrant health and optimal aging. And here we go. We're going to go on this map together. Can you get the sense now? Again, play with me in the chat. Can you get the idea of which feels better for the client, for the prospect? Who's going to get more attracted and be easier to talk to versus the custom solution? Now, that's the client's perspective. It makes it a lot easier on them to know if they're in the right place and they're talking to the right person, a lot less stress for them. And how about you? Isn't it a lot easier, a lot more exciting, and a lot more fun to tell somebody about the adventure and the journey you're going to take them on, because you've done it, because you've got it mapped out, because you can actually show them where you're going to go, how you're going to take them there? Doesn't that make your life easier? Jamie, are we getting any participation here? Are we getting any thumbs up?
Yes, we are. We're getting thumbs ups. And
Great.
not only for you, but also for the client. Like, imagine how they're feeling. Like they know that they're going to get a resolution to exactly what they're looking for.
Right.
Leslie says, definitely. Yes. Thank you, Leslie. Yes.
So it's simple. If you think about this, your prospect and, eventually your client, they want to know that you can help them get what they want. They want to have confidence in that, the utmost confidence. They want a solution to their problem, whatever that problem is. You know what that problem is that you are ideally suited to solve. Show them that you can solve it. Give them the confidence that they want and they need from you. Having a signature solution demonstrates to them that you know what you're doing, that you have a way of getting them what they want. This is why this is so important. This is so critical to your business. Now, there are lots of other subtleties and nuances to this too. Is how do you, a lot of people, Jamie and I get this over and over again. We get people coming to us saying, I want to be an influencer. I want to be an authority in my field. And the first thing we do, Jamie takes the lead on this, is look at how they appear to the world. What's their online presence look like? And in 99.9% of the cases, there's nothing there. There's really nothing that demonstrates that they know what they're doing or that they're going to solve the problem. So this is a surefire, the quickest, easiest, fastest way to become an influencer in your field. It's the quickest, fastest, easiest way to become an authority. Why? Because as you walk this path with your clients over and over again, you do become the authority. You become the experts. You learn yourself the subtleties, the nuances as you walk somebody through your map, as you walk somebody through your plan, as you walk somebody through your signature solution. So that's another thing I want to really highlight here, is the signature solution is never set in stone. It's always intended to evolve and get better. Why? Because of client feedback. As you feed the client's experience back into your plan, as you feed it back into your signature solution gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So it's kind of like a chef or a cook. I like to cook. I love to cook, and I like to bake and do different things. And I know that the more I do the same thing, like back 3 or so years ago, pre-COVID, I got onto the whole sourdough thing before it was popular. And I know that the practice, the constant doing it over and over again, and the subtle changes I make me better and better at nailing it, at getting that really beautiful loaf of bread that I'm looking for when I create that. So let me ask you, what light bulbs are going off for you right now? What are your takeaways from what we've talked about so far in this presentation? I know, it seems like a simple concept, and I know I've covered it very quickly, But what are the light bulbs that are going off for you? What are the takeaways? Please go ahead and jot those in the chat for me.
I have a question from Monet. She says, do you recommend a general roadmap if you also offer a la carte coaching, even if you have a specific program?
Definitely, and I do not recommend a la carte coaching.
I was going to say that too. Yeah.
So here would be my answer to that question. A la carte coaching, if you think about it, and again, let me tell you a story, and this comes from experience. I've been doing this for over 20 years, is you get somebody and you start to work with them on a specific problem. Now, even if you started, and I started without, any kind of signature solution or map, and started working with somebody and they were very excited and I was very excited, and we worked with them on a particular issue. We identified and worked with them on a particular issue. And then once we started to get some resolution on that, then guess what happens? Well, why don't we keep talking? I really enjoy working with you. And then over time, it peters out and it peters out and it peters out until you have a client no more. That's the challenge with a la carte. Because a la carte implies that, well, just show up. Inevitably, it comes down to price when we a la carte things. And if you have a la carte, it means I don't know what I'm coming for, but I'm still willing to pay you your $500 an hour. Sooner or later, that wears pretty thin. And not only does it wear pretty thin, but it wears out completely because something else comes up that replaces that has higher value than I don't know what I'm going to get to I know if I invest this $500 here, I'm going to get an amazing trip. I'm going to get I don't know, maybe a new accessory for my home or something to that effect. So that brings us back to the concept of value and pricing. So when we clearly identify the problem it is that we're solving, and we have a signature solution to solve it, now we can place a value on it. How do we place a value on a la carte coaching? Can you see what puts you into really a tailspin? It puts you into trouble, because what if somebody comes to you and they go, this problem really is only worth $50 to me. Are you still going to work with them? What if somebody comes to you and they say, this is really a life-changing problem. This divorce could cost me $2 million. Are you going to a la carte that? How can you a la carte that? You can't. Hope that makes sense. Jamie, do you have any thoughts to add to that?
I've spoken to coaches who say to me sometimes, well, I help my clients, we just kind of jump into a call and I just help them with whatever they're struggling with. And sometimes they come to the call and they don't really have anything that they're struggling with. This you're kind of the traffic director. You're kind of going, okay, this is the problem you came to me for. We're working through that. And there's a finite end where you're going to come to a place where there is, resolution to that. So I even wrote down the words pathway to transformation. So what Mark is talking about here, signature solution, a roadmap, it's a pathway to transformation. So the a la carte thing, as Mark was saying, it's very difficult to find value in that. It's difficult when you have the person that you're coaching kind of trying to direct their own transformation when they're kind of off the path a bit. It's like they're trying to come up with a problem to solve this week just so that they can, show up and see what they can get out of you. It's very kind of snapshot, if you will.
Yeah. And it's not tangible. So if you think about, you're coming to, how do you market that? How do you even present that? You're back to selling time for dollars.
Yeah.
And what happens when we do that? Then we turn ourselves into a commodity, and the lowest cost provider is the one who wins. Okay. So let me suggest an alternative to you for that is everybody has to go through, you focus 100% on your signature solution, finding people who have the problem that you are ideally suited to serve. That's what we do. That's what we help you do. And then once they kind of graduate from that, then what's the next problem we're going to solve? Because then I can go through a series of value propositions as opposed to a la carte.
Also, you want to be somebody who really is coming at this with no competition. Nobody else has a roadmap like that. Nobody else has a journey of transformation, a pathway to transformation. They're selling hours, they're selling a modality. They might be selling, I'm certified in this kind of modality. And as Mark and I talk about a lot, that makes you more of a commodity. You're you're then competing on price. You want to be that like solution that I can't get that anywhere. Like people say to us, oh, trying to compare apples to apples, but you guys are, it's like comparing apples to oranges because nobody else is offering the solution that you're offering. And that
Exactly.
is what you want from people.
Yeah.
You want them to feel that. I can't get that from somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where, when we get into, Jamie brought up a really good point, is a lot of people come to us and they say, well, I'm a certified so-and-so coach, or I've got this particular technique or methodology that I've been certified in. And one of the first things we do is say, take that off of your website. Take that off of your promotion, because all you're doing is hanging out a card that says, compare me to everybody else that has this, because I don't mean anything in this equation. It's the methodology or the modality that I'm using that has all the value. So think about it this way. Again, you know me, I love to use metaphors. I grew up as a kid in the marine business, boats, motors, fixing boats and motors. So the big tools at that time, very expensive, were Snap-on tools. Now, can you imagine if a mechanic just said, well, I'm a Snap-on tool mechanic? Who's going to go and say, well, my engine is fixed. I don't care what kind of tools you've got. I just want my engine fixed. If it really boiled down to you had to have the Snap-on tools to get the problem fixed, then I could just find the cheapest Snap-on tool mechanic that was out there. Same thing with coaching. Other takeaways. I know we kind of digressed a little into Q&A there. We actually skipped a little bit because we are going to come back to Q&A, but I want to just kind of anchor in anything that came. What are your ahas? What's snapping for you on this? Your takeaways from the topic, the idea of a signature solution, what we've talked about so far. Any other
Your
takeaways?
responses, if you have some, put them in the chat. We'll keep moving on and I'll pose them tomorrow.
And we'll circle back. So please think about this, because this is part of not being a spectator, but being a participant, is you want to give yourself that feedback loop. And that's why we ask you to give away, because if you go away without making a note, without having a takeaway, you kind of, be honest, wasted your time. Now, the other thing is you may be keeping your notes privately as a takeaway, but if you want your notes to really get ingrained in your brain and come to life, share them with others. So I want to encourage you to do that.
Daryl has a question. He says, is this the same as a proprietary process?
No, I wouldn't necessarily call it a proprietary process. And the reason for that, the only reason you could call it that, but I'm getting hung up a bit on the word proprietary. I like to use it. I think it's really effective to use it. So in a sense, it is proprietary to you because you're unique. You've created it. But I also don't want to, I want to qualify something here. Is a lot of people get hung up on the idea that, oh, I've got an idea, I'm going to trademark that. I'm going to copyright that. And they spend all of their time protecting their creations and their thoughts and everything. And they never really get the rubber on the road. So that's why I was hesitant in kind of saying, but that it's proprietary. But be careful not to get sucked into that idea of running out and hiring a lawyer and wasting all of your time and money on that. You're better off to present it as a proprietary thing because it is, you created it, and then move forward. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't confuse that. Jamie, did I just muddy the waters with that, or did I?
But yeah, I mean,
recover?
I think, my first instinct was to say, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I'm a little more hung up on the word process, but I'm okay with that. I really love the word solution because that really is the selling feature, right? It's like, I'm going to get you to your solution. So either way, I mean, it's, I think it's all fine and good. However you want to look at it, it's cool. But like Mark said, don't get hung up on that proprietary. It is proprietary. We say that all the time. We say
Yeah.
our proprietary methodology, like that's what it is. We
Yeah,
call
I
it.
think maybe the way, and well put, Jamie, is don't let the word proprietary be the emphasis. It's not
Yeah.
like you're selling something, it's not like people are going to go, well, I really don't need this, I don't like it, I'm not interested in it, but because it's proprietary, I'm going to buy it. It's never going to be a good sales tool that way, like in terms of, so the emphasis needs to be more on the fact that you've come up with this amazing solution that happens to match the problem that this person is experiencing. So that's where the emphasis needs to be. So I hope we didn't muddy the waters there. I like the word proprietary. I just don't like to go down, this whole route of thinking, that somehow we're going to protect it in a way that is going to force people to buy from us.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Also, kind of going back to the word custom, like customize, when I think back on that word, when people come to you and they say, I have this problem, then you say, okay, well, let me customize a solution. Let me put together a package for you. We're going to meet together. You know what? That problem probably needs like 6 weeks of time. And for that 6 weeks, I'm going to give you an hour here. Every couple of weeks, we're going to meet for an hour. And then you're creating stuff for that. And that's all very customized. Where really, if you are somebody who's solving a specific problem for someone, you can get them to that solution with your signature solution, your proprietary process. So that's really, for me, that's the overarching difference between the customized versus the signature solution. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I like that, and I think that's really, and if you think about that, kind of circling back to some things we just mentioned, the idea that if you're always creating a custom solution, then how can you ever kind of get to a place where you're getting a rhythm, where you're that go-to person,
Yeah.
right? Because nobody knows what you're the go-to for. You're the
Right.
go-to for the unknown and the custom solution, but that's an issue. That can become very difficult, particularly if you're starting out, or maybe somebody like a Tony Robbins can do that. Although you look at Tony Robbins and what does he do? He creates signature solutions. That's what he does. So anyhow, let's circle back. I just want to finish off here just by putting this in context. So this is this idea of creation. In fact, it's right here in the how, in the goals part, where we go through and we help you create the signature solution for the problem that you're solving for the clients that you're working with. So let's continue on, and then we'll circle back to more questions. But I just wanted to make sure that I completed this in case anybody needs to go. But your gift, and this I think really fits well, as the ultimate guide to raise your price. And this goes into this idea of having value propositions and having a solution that you're going to be able to present. And that brings us to kind of the final topic too, is how do you price? And I've alluded to this already. How does a signature solution allow you to price? Well, because if you understand the value of what you're offering based on the problem that you're solving, price becomes inevitable. It becomes a natural process and a natural part of what you're doing. So you're not picking numbers out of the air. You're not doing the crazy concept of looking what everybody else is doing and charging accordingly, a little bit less or whatever, trying to fit in. Instead, you're pricing based on the value of what your signature solution presents in terms of a solution to your clients. And that is going to be unique and that is going to be somewhat proprietary because you've come up with a way of doing it. You've come up with a way that resonates with your particular client, with the needs that they have, the wants that they have, the problems that they're solving. And as Jamie mentioned earlier, she used that word transformation. And that's what we're all about. Don't think small, think big. What are the big transformations that people are looking for? And I think that kind of comes back to the a la carte concept, is that, to me, coaching is about really changing lives. It's not about something that's small and petty that somebody could probably figure out for themselves. So go big. Think about transformations and those big transformations that people are looking for. And I want to give a couple examples. People who are here on the call right now. When you're saving somebody's marriage, that's transformative. That has so many different values at so many different points. It could literally mean the difference between life and death. It could take somebody from a place of depression and thinking they may need to end their life, to a place of joy and happiness. It could take that example I shared before, that person who's that wound up executive or physician or whatever, who's maybe on his or her third or fourth marriage, and this one's going to cost them big bucks. It could be a financial thing that you've saved them for. So these are transformations that can occur. Another person I know who's on this call, who is helping people who are struggling, that are in the sales field and just can't make it happen. So they're struggling. They're not able to get those deals going. Maybe they're going from job to job, or maybe within their job, they're just getting a lot of criticism and they're just not getting the income that they want, transforming their lives to becoming a high income earner because they become an effective salesperson. These are transformations that are really powerful. And that's what I want to encourage you to focus on. So again, the gift that we want to give you, if this is something that you are interested in, if you've been on a number of these calls, this may be circling around again. It's cycling around as a gift, so you might already have it. But just put "raise my price" in the comments, and we'll make sure that we get a copy of this off to you. This is from our friends over at Clients and Community, by the way. So just put "raise my price" in the comment section, and we'll be sure to get that over to you. And
cool, thank you.
Great. And just to kind of, again, introduce you to who we are, who Jamie and I are, and what we do and what we've been doing for a long time with coaches, and to ask you this question, and to let you know that if you're ready to implement a proven step-by-step method for creating a coaching business, moving away from the a la carte being a coach to creating a coaching business that earns you a full-time income, an exceptional full-time income, doing what you love without being stressed, overwhelmed, or simply bogged down doing things that aren't getting you the results that you really want, then book a time to chat with us. We'd love to give you some insights, some ideas, and to help you put together a game plan. And one thing we do promise you is we're not into BS. We're not into pitches or sales tactics or tricks or gimmicks or anything. We're going to sit down and find out where you're at and where you can get to where you want to go. And if that happens to include us helping you out and you working with us, that's great. But we let you guide that process. So let's circle back to any more questions or comments. Great ones, by the way. Thank you for participating and asking those questions. Love it. You got me thinking. I'll be thinking about proprietary for a while. I'll be thinking about a la carte too. So great questions. Thank you. Any other questions or comments or takeaways that you'd like to share?
Cheryl, I know that you came very late. You missed out on the bulk of the presentation. I'll make sure that you get the recording of this. So I wanted to welcome you here, but also acknowledge that. So I'll send you the recording as soon as it's done. Any other questions or comments in there? And by the way, I wanted to mention too, on this kind of signature solution topic, right? So you flashed a few of the roadmaps, from other people. Very good demonstrations, by the way. But I want to be very clear that, it's not something you just kind of pull out of thin air, right? There's process that goes along with kind of creating something like that. Johnny can speak to that. Not that he has to, but it was a lot of effort, and it should be. It's not something that you just kind of throw together a graphic and go, okay, this is my solution. You've really got to plan it out. So
yes.
Yeah.
And I want to circle back to whoever asked the proprietary question. In a sense, that's what makes it proprietary, because you put yourself into it. You're taking that understanding of your audience, of the person that you want to work with, that you can help. And you are taking your life experience and your work experience and blending that into your solution, which in a sense is proprietary because it's yours. Nobody can take that away from you. Whether it's registered or not, it doesn't matter. It's unique to you. You are the one that makes it unique. Great. So let's wrap now. We're going to transition. Those of you who are guests, thank you. I know we've had a few people that we've come to a natural conclusion that have left us. And those who aren't, we want you to know that right now we're going to transition to our client-only implementation call, where we talk about strategy and implementation and getting things done. But we want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And we look forward to speaking with you. And if you'd like to get together and talk about a game plan for your business, by all means, reach out to us at upscaleyourbusiness.com/game-plan. And we'd love the opportunity to visit with you.
Yes. Thank you.
And I think we're there. Let's wrap, and we'll move now to our implementation call.
Yeah, let me remove anyone who is not currently a client. So not to be rude, but we're going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to put you back into the waiting room area. Okay, so now let me stop the recording and then restart it.